Hello everybody, it is me, Teddy, and I am back with a Teddy Reads video. However, this video is going to be slightly different because the story I am going to read is written by myself. You'll be able to find this story shortly after this video on Wattpad if you would like to read it. But without further ado, as always, let's grab a snack, grab a stuffy and a blanket. Let's get nice and cozy and settled, ready to listen to today's story. Let's begin. Today's story is called Lost Buttons, written by myself, Teddy. Once upon a time, in a cozy little house at the end of a quiet street, there lived a small teddy bear named Buttons. Buttons was soft and brown with one shiny black eye and one eye made of a blue button that had been sewn back on with thread. Every night when the moon was high in the sky and the stars shone all around, he slept tucked under the arm of a little girl named Ellie. One windy afternoon, Ellie and her mother went out to the park where Ellie and Buttons would slide and swing the day away. But when it was time to leave, Ellie took Buttons by the paw and placed him into the pram. However, whilst walking towards the park exit, Buttons accidentally slipped from the pram without anyone noticing. He landed gently with a thud in a patch of daisies. "Oh dear," Buttons whispered as he watched the pram roll further and further away, being pushed by Mum. He jumped to his feet and with great haste he ran to try and catch up. But Buttons' legs were too short, and quickly he lost sight of Mum and Ellie. I think I'm lost," Buttons murmured to himself as he slumped down and sat at the base of a tall oak tree. Soon enough, the park grew quiet as evening crept in, so Buttons decided to find a place to keep warm. As Buttons walked, the wings squeaked softly in the breeze, and the clouds turned pink and gold. Buttons, although sad and scared, tried to be brave. A robin, who was sat in a tree tending to her young in the nest, spotted Buttons and flew down and hopped beside him. Why are you looking so sad?" she chirped. I'm lost. 1 minute I was swinging and laughing with Ellie, then the next I've fallen out of her pram with nowhere to go. I belong with Ellie," said Buttons. She can't sleep without me." The robin tilted her tiny head. "Well then, we must get you home." So the robin fluttered ahead while Buttons waddled after her, with his stuffing squishing in every step. First they crossed the playground, which stretched in front of Buttons like a magical carnival beneath the stars. The light of the moon shone across the rubbery ground in almost a silvery puddles, making the slides gleam like winding rivers. The climbing frame rose overhead like a giant castle, like the ones in Ellie's bedtime stories, the ladders climbing endlessly into the dark sky. Maybe a giant lives up there," Buttons pondered quietly to himself, as his tiny paws padded quietly past chalk drawings left by the other children in the afternoon, and the sandbox, in which a forgotten bucket sat alone, leaning to one side. Somewhere nearby, wind chimes tinkled faintly, and the roundabout turned with a slow, sleepy groan. As Buttons and the robin carried on walking through the playground, Buttons became less and less frightened as the park felt alive at night. Not in a scary way, but in an enchanted, almost as though all of the laughter from the day still lingered softly in the air, awaiting morning to return. Once out of the playground, Buttons and Robin passed the duck pond, where the sleepy ducks tucked their heads beneath their wings, dreaming of wearing tiny rain boots and splashing through giant puddles, and even playing hide and seek in the tall whispering reeds. "If we're going the right way, we should not have far to go," said the robin. But suddenly, out of nowhere, a huge gust of wind lifted Buttons right off of his feet. "Oh!" he squeaked as he tumbled into a bush beside the sidewalk. A kind, stray old dog named Mr. Paws peeked out from a nearby bush. "Well," he rumbled curiously, "what's a little teddy doing out all alone?" I'm trying to get home," said Buttons. Mr. Paws nodded slowly, laying down and licked at his paws. "Ah, I see. You two are without an owner. It's tough at first, but you get used to it." Buttons looked at Mr. Paws, not quite understanding what he meant at first. "No, I do have an owner. Ellie is her name. I fell out of her pram and now I'm lost." Mr. Paws moved closer to Buttons, his cold, wet nose pressing against Buttons' soft, padded belly. He inhaled deeply and lifted his nose and sniffed the air. "Oh, I know that scent. Lavender soap and peanut butter sandwiches. Oh, yes. Yes, that's Ellie," Buttons gasped in amazement. "Hop on and let's get you home," said Mr. Paws. Buttons climbed onto the dog's fluffy back, and away they went beneath the twinkling stars. As the three of them, Buttons, Robin and Mr. Paws, walked through the park, Buttons asked Mr. Paws, "Mr. Paws, now you know why I'm out alone, why are you out alone?" Mr. Paws thought for a second on what to say to Buttons. Well, you said you got left behind by falling out of a pram and, well, no one saw you. Well, I just got left behind intentionally." Buttons looked confused and opened his mouth to speak, but Robin jumped in. "What Mr. Paws is trying to say is that he got left by his owner. Left because they did not love him enough to want him at home." Buttons lowered his head and gently patted Mr. Paws on the side. I'm sorry, but..." Buttons leaned down, hugging Mr. Paws. You have us now who will love you." As the trio walked to the top of the hill and down the other side, they reached the little house at the end of the street. The house glowed like a lantern in the middle of the night. Warm golden light spilled from its windows and danced across the garden's path. Tiny white flowers lined the garden borders gently, swaying in the soft breeze, and a white fence wrapped around the garden, with Ellie's toys spread across the grass. Inside, Ellie sat alone by the top window in her pyjamas, hugging a blanket and trying not to cry, wondering where Buttons could be. Then in the silence of the night, scratch, scratch, scratch. Ellie lifted her head looking around the room to find nothing there. Ruff, ruff. Ellie looked down out of the window to find Buttons, Mr. Paws, and Robin looking up. Ellie jumped from the windowsill, ran down the stairs, and swung open the front door. Buttons! She cried. Happy tears started to trail down her cheeks. She scooped him up so tightly that his squishy stuffing puffed out a little at the seams. You came back, she whispered sleepily. As Ellie wiped her cheek, she looked down at the fluffy-looking dog who sat by her feet, head tilted and tongue sticking out. Well, hello there. Who are you? Ellie questioned and knelt down to check his collar. Mr. Paws. Mr. Paws barked happily, giving a little tail wag. You better come inside with us. Ellie opened the door, allowing Mr. Paws to enter the house, while Buttons turned his head slowly towards Mr. Paws, giving a little wink. That night, tucked beneath Ellie's chin, Buttons listened to the soft rhythm of the rain tapping the window and the gentle snoring of Mr. Paws, who lay curled up at the end of the bed by Ellie's feet. And before he drifted to sleep, he thought, no matter how far you wander, love always helps you find your way home. The end.